Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Ooh, extra cheeky. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Representative Map 767 from the Am I the Arsehole and the Relationship Advice subreddit, and it's titled My Sister, 34 female, is mad at me, 40 male, for keeping her ex employed and promoting him after he strayed. How can I show her this is purely a business decision and nothing to do with my support for her? Posted in another sub. Would like more advice here rather than judgment. I'm in a weird situation here. My sister, Sarah, has been with Josh for 3 years. I own a business. Without getting too specific, I have 8 employees right now, so fairly small. I hired Josh despite him having less experience than typical for a new hire. Originally as a favor to Sarah, but he was a natural fit. From day one, he's been a huge contributor. All was fine and dandy until about 3 months ago, and it came out that Josh had been sleeping with Sarah's best friend Ashley. Ashley is now pregnant. Obviously, Sarah left him and is now living with our parents in the house I pay for. He's now engaged to Ashley and living with her. I don't see this lasting. While this was happening, I tried to remain professional with Josh. But I think he's a scummy guy. Technically, personal stuff shouldn't be used against him at work. One of my longest employees unfortunately had some major health complications come up and he unofficially retired, keeping him on the books for insurance, but he won't be working for a while. Hate to say it, but Josh really stepped up in his absence. He's been incredibly essential in keeping us running and successful, more now than ever before. Now that it's become clear that my other employee won't be coming back anytime soon, I needed to replace him. Josh is the natural candidate, and all my other employees told me to promote him, so I gave it to him with about a 50% raise, what the person before him was making, and he's been flourishing in it. Awkward part about that is Sarah just found out he was promoted from a mutual friend and is livid with me. She gave me an earful, as did my parents, and now I'm feeling pretty conflicted. I feel like personal life and professional life should be treated separately, but my family is saying this is different. Edit. They were never married or engaged, just living together. No kids together. I'm not firing anyone. He hasn't broken any work rules, and that would screw over everyone else who works for me. We do profit sharing, and that would require turning down jobs due to not having bandwidth to take them on. It would also require more hours from anyone. I'm not going to do that as that wouldn't help anybody. People keep saying just hire someone else, but we have a national worker shortage and this is a specialized position. Even if the perfect candidate came in, it would take at least 6 months to get them to speed. And that's with a candidate with ample experience. We've had open jobs for our entry-level roles that we train for months that aren't getting filled. Pay starts at 50k. We just haven't had qualified workers applying who are willing to do the work. It is not so simple. Timeline goes like 2 years, hires Josh. Day 1, old employee takes short leave. Josh fills in temporarily at first. Couple of weeks later, this all comes out. Josh is still filling in and doing great work. 3 weeks later, old employee shares he will not be coming back due to health reasons. All of my other employees tell me how great Josh is doing and how much they like working for him. Business is booming, and they tell me how much they think Josh deserves the promotion officially. 2 weeks later, I have to make a decision, so I give him the promotion purely for performance reasons. Couple of weeks after that, Sarah finds out, and that was in the last week. But Kurt says, let me ask you a hypothetical question. If Josh cheated with your wife or girlfriend, being an exemplary employee at the same time, what would you do? Edit, my take. You have every right to put your business above your sister, but she has every right to feel betrayed by you. But spare us that BS about supporting her. Opie says, that really makes me think. I feel like I wouldn't be able to be objective in that situation, so I'd make the emotional decision to fire him. I don't know if that would actually be an ethical business decision though. Being a little more removed from the situation, it's easier to be objective. Light Observer says, Josh has demonstrated poor ethics as a person. It should make you at least question his ethics when it comes to your business as well. Opie says, thing is, despite how bad of a boyfriend he was, he's never messed up at work. I worry about the message it sends to the rest of the team that personal life problems endanger your job. I've had a lot of employees over the years have relationships and marriages fail at times. Realistically, some have probably cheated, but I've never disciplined someone for how they handle their personal relationships. That just seems wrong to me. If I had just hired him, it'd be one thing, but he's worked for me for 2 years without incident. Turbulent says, come on dude. If your sister employed someone who your wife cheated with, you would feel betrayed. You're willing to be unethical for yourself but not for your sister. Your argument is personal versus professional life doesn't stand up. You're using it as a crutch. And why exactly are you not emotional here? Your little sister got extremely hurt by someone. It's crazy you're so objective. My take is that you're her big brother. You're supposed to protect her and be in her corner. If someone had cheated on me, I think it would be difficult to keep my brothers from not beating him to death, let alone giving the dude promotions and being all buddy-buddy with him. You're telling me there's not one person out there that could do his job. There's not one person you could bring in and train. Maybe inconvenient in the short term, but more inconvenient in the long term to have a shitty relationship with your sister because of some dude. As for the legal aspect, do what big businesses do. Treat him shitty enough that he leaves on his own. Certainly don't promote him. Increase his quality of life on your dime and then expect your sister to swallow it down and not feel betrayed. Opie says he was already filling in doing that job before all this came out, and he was doing it better than the person before. The hiring market is tough right now to find someone with this experience. I definitely felt conflicted, but the rest of my team was vouching for how well he's doing and how much they like working for him. I do feel bad for my sister, but my business supports 7 other employees' livelihoods, supports my wife and 3 kids, and my parents whose housing expenses I pay for, so indirectly paying to house my sister currently, since my dad is on disability. It's not black and white. I understand my sister is hurt. At this point, I'm more asking how I can help do damage control, though I think giving her space is the right move now, so she can cool off. Another user says, look, you can't fire him for personal reasons. Your sister and your family will be pissed at you for that, and with good reason. You can't possibly deny that. Try talking with your sister and family on what you can compromise with them. I'm sure you've already explained that you made your decision purely on business reasons, and firing and demoting him is off the table, given that you can be sued for that. Info. Have you talked to Josh about the issue with your sister? In hindsight, never mix family and business again. Opie says, I talked to him once when it all came out. He apologized and told me he fell in love with the other woman. I told him I don't want to hear about that or ever discuss this matter at work, and that all conversations from here on out will be strictly professional. He abided by that since. As a rule, I don't discuss the two of them with each other no matter what. One more commenter from you who says, I'd hire a lawyer for a legal consult about even if you could legally fire him and what it would take/cost. Pay them to write that up. Sit her and everyone down to explain you hired this person at your sister's request and now have legal duties and responsibilities to this person. So show them the legal documents and ask them what they think you should do, or even cannot do out of a feelings place but from a legal perspective. Put the responsibility of your sister trapping you in this legal mess on her doorstep. Also point out that his higher wages mean more child support and that he will have a very hard time hiding money if you sign his payroll. And I'm more than happy to comply with court requests. She is hurt, embarrassed, and lashing out. Let her know you support and understand that, but it's not reasonable to put this on you. If things are really booming at the right time, maybe offer to pay for some therapy/self-care things for her as a sign of support. Opie says, I can't really justify firing him. He hasn't done anything wrong, and the team enjoys working for him. I'm not really sure what your point around child support is. My sister has no kids with him. Oh, what an absolute shitty situation to be in. And, you know, as always, when I read these stories, I always think from different points of view, and initially thinking from the sister's point of view. And, oh, that must feel absolutely awful, you know, to first be betrayed by your ex with your best friend who is now pregnant. They're getting engaged. And then to discover through someone else that he's now been promoted at work, the work which your brother owns. That has got to feel absolutely shitty and betrayed by pretty much everyone around you, right? Ropey, let's first tackle it because there was a couple of comments. I don't think legally there is anything he can actually do. You can't sack someone for cheating, and even if you tried, you could get yourself in a lot of shit, I imagine. Morally, and I'm trying to like stand in OP's shoes. I don't know how I'd look at that person the same way again, you know, if it betrayed one of my spouses and whatever reason. I know a lot of people saying, oh, you can't get emotional in business, etc., and you can't sack him anyway, so, you know, you just need to move on. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that I wouldn't be seeing this guy as a complete piece of shit if you betrayed one of my brothers or family members. And I'd be watching like a hawk. Oh, maybe that makes me shit, but hey, I can't help the way that I think about it. I think a big part of this at the same time is the way that the sister found out. She found out for a mutual friend that he got promoted, etc. You know, you'd have thought you'd have went up to her and say, this is the situation at the moment. You know, the business needs to continue as it is to keep being successful at this moment in time. And, you know, it's supporting our whole household, etc. So to just bear with me for now. Just from completely the outside, without all the little bits in between, I think it has put OP in a really difficult position where at the moment, I think he just needs to continue. He can't sack him. He can't do anything about it currently. He can't do anything about it. You can't sack someone for cheating. You know, you get laughed out of an employment tribunal with that. So if the family push to have him fired or whatever, they're asking him to do something illegal and, you know, something that's financially destructive because it's a small 8-person operation, and potentially losing your best employee in what is said as a specialized role is going to hurt everyone and everything, even the place that they're living in right now. I don't know. I'm going to be interested on your comments on this one. They're a bit all over the place. But OP does come in with an update and says, I got a ton of feedback from my original post, so I wanted to put an update here. It's not super juicy, but I figured I'd let people know. Saturday night, we had a family dinner where my parents and Sarah are living. We didn't talk about the subject of the last post during dinner, but Sarah was being noticeably short with me to the point that my sons noticed. After dinner, I asked her to speak in private, to which she obliged. I reiterated to her that my actions with Josh were purely about business and had nothing to do with her. She told me she knows that and she was embarrassed at her reaction. It's just that it's been a few really shitty months for her. Basically, she told me she hates her job, is now single and missing her former best friend, and now she's having some anxiety about never finding someone before she's too old to have kids. And meanwhile, everything just keeps seeming to get better for her ex. I have to say, that was really sad to hear from her. I told her I'm always here for her, and asked her what ideally she'd like to do work-wise. Well, as it turns out, without getting too specific, what she'd ideally like to do is something that one of my best friends has a business and needs someone to do that function. That friend owes me some favors for a jam I got them out of in the past, so I told her I'd see what I could do. Well, they connected Monday and really hit it off. They offered her a full-time position that will now be starting in 2 weeks. She'd be making more money with better benefits, doing something she's always wanted to do. Also, on Sunday, we actually went to the amusement park with my kids and her and had a bit of a family day. She said that was great therapy for her, and what she needed was to get out of the house my parents are living in, as she was feeling sorry for herself. She's looking at apartments this week and is hoping to find one near me as she loves hanging out. I'm not talking about free babysitting with her nephews. Sorry this isn't the juicy update some people who were saying she's going to absolutely go no contact with me were expecting. But it was a happy update nonetheless. I'm really excited for her to start a new job, as I think she'll be much happier there. And she has a lot to offer, so I'm sure she'll find someone as soon as she's ready to start dating again. Commenter says, forget everyone trying to make you the bad guy. I think you made the right choice. Work is work and home is home. It'd be unethical to fire someone for that anyway, especially considering his job performance is above average. Glad everything worked out. Opie said, thanks, yeah. It was obviously a conflicting situation, but at the end of the day, I had to treat business like business to do right by my other employees. Commenter says, you are a true capitalist dude. You kept the lying, cheating douchebag and gave him a promotion, and now you get a free babysitter. Maybe try running for the Senate if you live in the USA. Opie says, I specifically said not free babysitting. My wife is a stay-at-home mum and we've had a few teens in the neighborhood. We pay to babysit when needed. She loves her nephews and enjoys spending time with them. But I'm talking about all of us hanging out, not me leaving and her watching my kids for me. Madfrit says, Happy things are starting to work out for your sister, but your repeated claims that your decision to keep Josh on are purely about business and have nothing to do with her completely fall flat. There is no way to completely separate the two. You hired him as a favor for your sister when they were already in a relationship, and this guy deeply hurt your own flesh and blood, and worst of all, did it along with her best friend. This isn't some minor slight against your sister. This person who you are actively employing committed one of the worst betrayals against your sister. No matter how much you claim this is just about business, your decision to keep him on involved weighing what he did to your sister. You simply made the decision that business was more important to you in this situation. Own that choice and how bad it actually is to your relationship, instead of pretending that there was no choice you made. You should be apologizing to her, even if you continue to maintain Josh's employment. The only scenario where I'd be more on your side on this one is if your country/state laws do not permit firing without just cause, i.e. as retribution for his actions in his personal life, committing a violation against an Employee Protection Act and putting your business at risk of actual damage. Not just the inconvenience of losing a good employee who you have no replacement for at the moment, is a different situation entirely. Opie says, when I manage my business, I look at situations objectively. Firing Josh would have been purely revenge and would hurt him, myself, his future child who has done nothing wrong, and the rest of my employees. It also wouldn't have helped anyone. Sarah and I talked about it and she conceded that it wouldn't have actually helped anyone or anything either. We're all good now. I'd rather focus my energy towards helping people and accomplishing goals than hurting people out of retribution, and Sarah agrees. Bloody hell. One of the top commenters just said, and it did make me chuckle a little bit, this bullshit right here is why you don't mix business with family. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from this username, which is already worrying in itself, Possessive Boyfriend, and says, my 23 female boyfriend, 23 male, of 3 years is using Tinder, claiming to be looking for friends and hangouts. A single friend called me a couple of days ago, asking me if I knew that Dave, a boyfriend, was using Tinder. Despite being with me for the last 3 years and living together and happily planning an engagement. I was distraught knowing what Tinder is and what it is used for. I was heartbroken. She goes on to tell me that his bio says he's looking to make some new, exciting and fun friends and looking to hang out, willing to travel a little if there's enough excitement involved. His pictures do not include me, despite 9 out of 10 pictures ever taken of either of us for the last 3 years having the two of us together in them. One of his pictures in him is at a beach, shirtless, and a tiny man thong I got him as a joke. He cropped me out of the image. I brought this up to him, and he laughed it off, saying that 1, my best friend of 11 years is a nosy bitch, and that 2, he's entitled to seek friends and be social, even if it's with complete strangers. Basically, he completely invalidated my points and made me feel guilty for being upset by this, playing it off like I am being possessive. Since then, I've avoided bringing it up and just tried to get over it. He hasn't been out and about any more than usual, so it doesn't look like he has any takers yet. But this is just not sitting right with me. I'm upset and feeling betrayed, and I don't know how to get my points across without him invalidating it or guilting me. What can I do? Am I in the wrong for not being okay with this? I do not want to throw away 3 years over something that might be me being silly. Mrs. Boo says, if I were you, I'd make up a Tinder profile with a different person's picture and get in contact with him and see what he does. I cannot believe that anyone would use Tinder for anything other than to hook up. Commenter says, from my experience, Tinder is not about friends. I've never heard of anyone using Tinder for anything but hookups. That said, let's get Reddit's consensus before we make a decision. Maybe a ton of people use Tinder as a friend finder, and you and I just don't know it yet. If it's a common practice, I'd let it go. Like you said, his actual behavior hasn't changed yet. If no one has heard of using Tinder as a friend finder before, I'd have a serious chat with him about it. I'd say it all depends on the consensus. I gotta be honest, I've never actually been on Tinder in all my life. I know it's like you swipe left and right for certain things, but whenever I've heard of Tinder, it's never been, as a friend finder. Maybe I'm completely wrong there, but Everything I've heard about Tinder, it's a place for hookups, like the commenters was saying. I mean, he's not looking for a freaking chest buddy, is he? Maybe he is. But the cropped out photo as well, you know, it tells a whole story, doesn't it? He didn't accidentally remove his girlfriend from that beach pic. It took effort, a small amount of effort, I know, but it still took effort. But it's also the gaslighting in this as well, making OP feeling crazy for having, you know, a completely reasonable reaction to seeing your partner on Tinder and calling her best friend a nosy bitch for flagging it as well. And I think the I'm entitled to make friends argument might actually hold up if he was using, I don't know, an actual friend finding app rather than Tinder. He chose Tinder with a bio talking about excitement and willingness to travel in a thong pic that he cropped his girlfriend out of. Come on now. OP first comes in with an edit/update and says, firstly, thank you all for all your perspectives and advice in this quite frankly disgusting situation I found myself in. I decided I'd play dirty as someone suggested and made a Tinder profile, pretending to be a friend, with her permission, whom he does not know. I hit on him. He reciprocated and made plans to meet with me at a nearby coffee shop that we occasionally date at, minutes after making my intentions clear. Wow. In about 20 minutes, he'll be heading out to go and meet me, and I'll be packing up his shit ready for him to leave when he gets back. House is my family's. He has no rights to any of it. I deserve better. OP adds a second update and says, he sat at the coffee place waiting for her/me for over an hour in the hopes to meet my, to be honest, gorgeous friend. Obviously, she didn't show up. Shortly after he left, I called my dad to explain, and I must have sounded pretty distraught because he came over without me asking. Dave come home to his clothes packed up by the door. He came in yelling, "What the fuck is this?" And unbeknownst to him, my dad was sat by me on the sofa and responded on my behalf, telling him in no uncertain words to get his filthy, unfaithful ass out of his house. I'm glad he did. I think my dad knows I'm timid and prone to being pushed about. His face dropped when he pieced it together. Without a word, he 180'd and grabbed his bags. I know he has places he can stay and family nearby, so I'm not worried about him having no place to sleep. This is going to hurt for a long time, but I can never forgive that kind of breach of trust. I'm not the type of person to move past it. I'll allow him back to collect his pieces of furniture and such in a week or so when he is situated. That's as far as seeing him again goes. I'm also dreading a phone call from his mother, whom I love dearly. She'll be heartbroken too. Welp, bye-bye 3 years, and fuck you, Dave. A commenter who was downvoted says, I don't know. I still think it's kind of petty to have created the account. At 3 years, I would have hoped you could have realized anyone calling your friend a nosy bitch/invalidating your feelings isn't someone you want to be dating. But if it's what you need to get him out of your life, then I guess that's what matters. I'd also put this as an edit to the main. OP says, I tried, and he called me crazy, possessive, insulted the friend who enlightened me, and refused to acknowledge I was still upset about it for 2 days. Acid says, I'm really curious as to what he said to you as his excuse to go meet the Tinder date. OP said he was going to go grocery shopping so I could put my feet up for the day, as it was my turn to do it. Came back and he didn't have any groceries. Had to go shopping even after he broke my heart. Fuck you, Dave, ×2. And as I was making my first comment, I didn't actually say it, but I was kind of like, is it a good idea for OP to be making a fake account and then, you know, possibly inviting more drama into her life, etc. But in the end, I'm kind of glad she did, because she got that 100% confirmation of what he was exactly doing. No more gaslighting, no more second guessing, just 100% proof of what was being said around her. And I'm glad OP had a support system of her dad and her friends around her too. And I just hope that she's just doing so much better. It kind of just had me thinking, I wonder how much he has cheated in the past. It seemed like he was all just very casual about this. So who knows, right? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.